You cannot trust anything that's coming out of like my taste buds during pregnancy, which has been really interesting in developing a cookbook.
This is the Pursuit of Wellness podcast, and I'm your host, Mari Llewellyn. Olivia, welcome to the Pursuit of Wellness.
It's amazing to be here. Thank you so much. I am a POW girl, which I actually don't even know if I've told you this.
I had no idea.
So it's fun to be, on the other side of the camera today.
That's so sweet. And guys, just if you're not watching on camera, Olivia is literally about to give birth. Like, we talked about doing this episode and you were like, yeah, unless I'm giving birth that day. And like, literally you were like, I might be cramping. So I can't believe you're here right now and you look amazing. And congratulations. And we're all so happy for you.
Thank you. Yes, for context, I'm due in 2 days.
This is crazy that you're here right now.
Kind of the most pregnant that you can be.
Which is insane because you literally have heels on and you look good. Like, this is insane. Like, you look amazing.
I'm glad that we're recording in the morning because by the end of the day, I'm not sure if the heels were, it's like a downward spiral.
What time are you in bed nowadays?
Last night, 9:30. And I've been letting myself sleep until 7:30.
Yep, as you should.
And it's been amazing. Like, the last week I just committed to, you are not going to be an early riser. You need to like sleep as much as you can now before this baby comes out and like completely wrecks your schedule.
Yeah.
Like, rest up, honey.
How much has your routine changed from before you were pregnant to now?
I was definitely a lot more rigid in my habits and routines, and everything was like super systematized. And I think one of the main takeaways from pregnancy is I'm building a lot more flexibility and less rigidity into my schedule. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I need to give myself some margin. I can't run at the same pace that I was running. And I'm sure you can relate so well to this, where you're like in the zone, in work mode for so many years that you start to operate like a machine. And pregnancy does not really allow for that.
It's like that masculine feminine vibe that everyone talks about. And some people don't like that word, but I feel like, yeah, I was in fight or flight for so long. Mm-hmm. And this, like, going through IVF and pregnancy completely shifted the way that I approach my life for the first time. And it's kind of nice because it really does force you to change your perspective on how you do things.
Mm-hmm. Like, such a release of control.
Yes.
And realizing that part of that release is actually very liberating.
Yes.
At first I held tightly to like, no, I want to maintain like the same level of putting out content like I was, and I want to be working out like I was before, eating like I was before, and realizing that I could release some of that rigidity and nothing would really change.
Yes.
All that much. Like, work kept going on at a normal pace and I felt really good. I felt really strong. It's helped me be more flexible in my mindset about everything.
Yeah, which is a great learning lesson to bring into the rest of your life as well. And I can't wait to talk about like workouts and pregnancy nutrition. Before we hop in, you have 1.6 million followers. You have an amazing food page. Honestly, I think your page is my favorite to follow. It really is, because you make food fun. And I feel like you focus on gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free most of the time. Mm-hmm. But the food is still so delicious and fun looking. Where did your love of food begin?
I'm so glad that is what comes through on my page, first of all.
Yeah.
It's been very intentional for me to create a space where like food is fun, it's joyful, it's healthy, and it happens to be gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free. It's not like, all right, we're starting with the rules and now we're trying to force it to be interesting. I really want food to just be an enjoyable part of everyday life. It started because, very similar to your story, I have very acne-prone skin, and I battled it from the time that I was 10 years old until like my mid-20s, when I was getting deep cystic acne that I just like could not figure out how to fix. So I really made a lot of diet and lifestyle modifications. And one of those was switching to a gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free diet, really trying to limit inflammatory foods but still eat joyfully. Yeah. Like, I felt like a lot of the content that I was consuming at the time was, okay, if you're going to eat quote unquote healthy, it has to look a certain way.
Chicken and rice.
Yep. Like, you're boiling things, you're steaming things. Like, that is the extent of the excitement that we're getting into. And I was like, that is not enough for me. So I started to share content around the time of like my mid-20s. Mm-hmm. Started to get really into cooking, started sharing content. and realized that there is this whole community of people who wanted to eat this way and experience joy and like eat healthy. And maybe they were dealing with the same skin issues as me, or maybe it was just a desire to feel good or other health issues. But it started to reach so many people, and it was really exciting. And the last 4 years of really devoting myself to like building a business in the food content space has been incredible and very exciting.
I think that is how I found your page. I think it was because I was struggling so badly with acne, and I tried some crazy diets. Like, I've spoken about it on the podcast. Like, if you even go back and look at my podcast videos from a year ago, my acne was so bad. And I went through phases of like full keto, only eating meat, like crazy shit, honestly. And now I'm like, what was I doing? Like, none of it helped, but it was like this control factor of like, if only I eat like this, then maybe my skin will get better. And it ended up being some gut bacteria that I needed to do antibiotics for, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So none of the diet things actually ended up helping, but eating gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free made me feel better, and it definitely helped with the inflammation of my skin. So I feel like that is how I ended up on your page, and I'm sure how so many people find your recipes. But like, when I think of your recipes, I think of the brownies, the nachos. Like, it is really fun and colorful, which is so cool, and I love that. Because I went through a phase on my page of doing a lot of recipes, like maybe for like 6 months, and that was the hardest content that I've ever had to produce. It would take me the entire day. I would have tripods here, tripods there, like I'm running around making sure my angles are good. I ended up like hiring someone to help me, and I was like, I don't think I can keep doing this. Like, what is the actual process of creating a new recipe and then shooting it?
Someone actually recently asked me if they were trying a bunch of different things with their content, and they were saying like, some of my lifestyle stuff does well, but like my random recipes that I'll share do like really well. Do you think I should dedicate more time to recipes? And I was like, well, I am biased because that's just my preferred creative art form. Like, I love to cook. That's a unique differentiator for me. But that is by far the hardest type of content that I do. Yeah. And if I'm going to whip out every now and then, I'll put like a day in the life or what I eat in a day or that type of content. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so easy.
Like, so much easier.
So great.
Yeah.
Or like a collage. I'm like, oh my, I should really start incorporating more of this. So it is definitely a heavier lift, but it has just happened to be the thing that I feel like is what I can offer uniquely to my platform. But in terms of process, my process has gotten much more expansive as I feel like there's more pressure and more eyeballs on my page. Like, in the beginning, it was easy to just, this is what I'm having for dinner tonight. Like, I'm just kind of throwing things together, pulling things out of my pantry. It's delicious. It's fun. But now I do feel this pressure that everything needs to be tested.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm going through the process, making the recipe multiple times, and then I have a recipe tester who tests the recipes
Before you film it.
before I film.
To make sure it's actually good.
Make sure it's good and like poke at it a little.
Yeah.
Ask me questions like, okay, if someone is going to substitute this type of flour, what's going to be the outcome? Like, you need to be specific about,
like, does it fall apart if you use almond flour? Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
And those were things that were very much a learn as I went, because I am a home cook. I'm self-taught. I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't learn about like the chemistry of different flours. And it's been a really good learning process as people have given me feedback that like, I tried this and it was terrible. And I'm like, oh, well, what did you change about it? And they're like, roughly everything. I'm like, okay.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of user error here. But it's good for me because now when I have my blog posts written, I can be a lot more specific about like, okay, if you're going to make this substitution, it's going to be cakier or it's not going to have the same rise or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like me personally making the recipes, getting them tested, and then shooting them. And it's like a whole process.
It just seems so detail oriented. And then even the aesthetics of it, like for Bloom, when I used to like do the props for the shoots, like I used to be behind the camera and I would help have the lettuce and whatever fruits we were using. Food styling is really, really difficult.
It's so hard.
Yes.
Because the food looks good for about 2 minutes. Yeah. And you're like, okay, it has to have the perfect sheen on it. And I have so much respect for food photographers.
Yes.
And for projects that I work on, like my ebooks and a future cookbook, there is no way I am shooting those photos because it is an art form. It's so hard to make food look good for like a long period of time.
Yeah, they're like spraying things and putting like nail varnish on fruits. Like there's all these tricks to
So
make
many
food
tricks.
look better.
My last ebook shoot, we had like a basic matcha latte in it.
Yeah.
And I'm holding the matcha and the food stylist is like, don't accidentally drink it, because we put Windex on the glass.
Oh God.
To make it like really, really vibrant and clean.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you.
Please don't drink Windex.
Do not drink Windex.
That's my worst nightmare, actually. Drinking Windex.
That day was the day that I found out that I was pregnant.
Oh God.
So I'm like, I can't even imagine. I'm like sipping on Windex and like.
No. Oh God. But yeah, like that's what it takes, because food looks good in real life, but when you put it on camera, you almost need to like zhuzh it up.
And that has been one of the biggest learnings, I feel like, in my content creation, because I am not someone who is naturally driven by the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a great eye for food styling. I always say, like, if you come over to our house and you think it looks nice, it's because of Kyle. Like, Kyle has much more of like an interior design eye.
Does he?
He does. He's like very much into the aesthetic, and
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for that.
I'm not either. Like
No.
I see these girls with like gorgeously curated feeds. I mean, honestly, I would think that you are, because your feed is so gorgeous, but that is not the way that I lean, honestly.
No, I love having help in that regard.
Yeah.
Even like Kyle will help with like what I'm gonna wear. He loves having a little bit of a say in like
So
my outfit. It's
sweet.
really cute.
That is, where is he from originally?
Pennsylvania.
Where in Pennsylvania?
Montrose.
Okay.
It's this little town in Northeast Pennsylvania.
I went to school in Philly, so I kind of know some of the areas.
Okay.
Where are you
Really
from
tiny.
originally?
Eugene, Oregon.
Okay, yes, I read that. Did you grow up around horses?
I grew up not really around horses, but like out in the country.
Yeah, okay.
So some of our neighbors had horses, but it was like a lot of cows, chickens, sheep.
Yeah.
It was very cute
Oregon
and
looks
wholesome.
gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. We're actually going to go this summer after baby's
With the
born,
baby.
With the baby. Have her meet the family and spend a little time away from the Texas heat, which will be nice.
I was kind of like thinking about having a baby in this heat, and I feel like it would be really tough, because it's not like you're going outside at 3 p.m. It's insane.
I'm a little bit worried about being like freshly postpartum in the 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think you want to be taking them outside. You want them to get vitamin D and that light in their eyes in the morning. But like, my gosh,
It's a lot.
I'm going to be a hormonal mess and just like sweating.
One thing I've been obsessed with for my skin for a very long time is red light therapy, and my personal favorite brand is Bon Charge. Their mission is clear: to empower individuals to live more fulfilling lives through science-backed beauty and wellness products. I know it can be really hard to find time to look after your skin and keep up with the 10-step skincare routine, but one thing I love about the Bon Charge Red Light Face Mask is it's super easy to incorporate. You just really need 10 minutes a day, and you're on your way to clearer, firmer, and more radiant skin. You can wear it while cooking, while watching TV, making the bed, whatever it is you need to do. They make it so easy. It's lightweight, portable, and contours perfectly to my face. It really helps with uneven skin tone and texture. I had acne for over 10 years and definitely have some scarring, and I've noticed such a difference with using red light therapy. Bon Charge red light devices promise a non-invasive approach that utilizes specific wavelengths of red and near infrared light to penetrate the skin, offering a range of benefits that continue to garner attention from researchers and health professionals alike. Bon Charge ships worldwide in rapid time with easy returns and exchanges and a 1-year warranty. Go to boncharge.com and use the code PURSUIT to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com and use coupon code PURSUIT, PURSUIT, to save 15%. Shopping, planning, and cooking food really can be simple and stress-free. Imagine your weekly shopping cart filled for you and your meals for the week decided on. Taking all that work off my plate is why I love Hungry Root. Hungry Root takes the stress out of mealtime by filling your cart with personalized picks and planning weeks of meals by getting smarter with every order. With over 15,000 quick recipes shipped each week, many ready in just 15 minutes or less, and a wide grocery selection, they have smoothies, kids snacks, sweets, salad kits, ready to eat meals and supplements. It's super easy to find things that fit your family's tastes and nutrition goals. They also can personalize what you're looking for, whether you're gluten-free, dairy-free, high protein, focused on gut health, or anything else. They have a really fun, quick quiz you can take, and their smart cart technologies will recommend groceries, recipes, and supplements tailored to your tastes and needs. Hungry Root helps you save by reducing food waste, avoiding impulse grocery buys, and skipping last-minute restaurant takeout. The quality is super high standard. They screen out over 200 additives, including high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives. They use high quality meat and seafood with no hormones or antibiotics, and they offer organic produce and non-GMO options. I personally try to focus on high protein snacks, and they made it so easy to find exactly what I'm looking for. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/POW and use code POW. That's hungryroot.com/POW, code POW to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/POW, code POW. Like, how do you even begin to think about your life postpartum? Like, I'm sure it's really difficult to even know what to expect. Like, how are you kind of approaching that?
I've been talking to a lot of women who have businesses and trying to educate myself on like what they're doing, what they wish they would have done differently with their babies in the beginning. And overwhelmingly, what it sounds like is it's really hard to go back to work. No matter like how late into it you phase back in, it's just really hard. And I do feel grateful that I work from home.
Yeah.
So like going back to work is going to look very different. That is such a privilege. It's been a balance of like baking in that flexibility. Like we talked about, like I'm not giving myself a super rigid, okay, after 8 weeks or after 3 months, I'm like going to be fully back in the swing.
Yeah.
I've prepped enough content to give myself like a couple months of time
great.
off. Yeah. So I'm planning on at least 2 months of like stepping away.
Amazing.
Which will be really nice. And just bonding and soaking in cuddles and us learning each other and how to breastfeed and all of that stuff.
All the things.
All the things that you have to start learning. So I'm definitely looking forward to taking my first ever break from content in 4 years. I was thinking over the weekend, I haven't not posted. Like the most I've ever gone without posting is 4 days.
Yeah.
So what is that going to look like?
Are you going to like delete social or just not go on?
I think I'll still have it. I will still be posting like all the content that I prepped. And then every week my Substack is going to go out. So I will be like promoting my Substack. But that's one of those things that like I have assets that I have built so that I can post out on my story and I don't have to be like recording something live.
You're prepped.
I feel really prepped. And it's been a lot of work to like, my assistant Chelsea is here and she has been so helpful in like editing videos and making sure I have time to review them before
the editing is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's honestly actually one of my favorite parts of everything. I love editing, but even with recipes especially, it's tough.
Do you still edit your own videos?
Well, depends what it is. If it's a podcast clip, my producer Davi helps. But if it's like a vlog or something I'm making, I will edit it for sure.
I do love the editing, and that was hard for me to turn over because I felt like, oh, this is where like part of my creativity comes in.
Yeah.
But in the first trimester, when I was a horizontal person, it was hard for me to like keep my head up. And I was like sitting down in between filming different recipe clips. Like I was so tired.
Yeah.
I finally released that. I was like holding so tightly to it before. I finally released it and had Chelsea start helping with editing. And she's like such a whiz at it. She's so good. I'm like, why did I hold on to this for so long?
Wait, I want to talk about the beginning of your pregnancy. So when did you first get pregnant?
September. It was like a wedding weekend from one of our friends, which was really cute.
Oh, that is cute. And were you guys trying?
We were. Yeah.
Okay.
We had decided like, okay, I think that we're ready to do this.
Okay, tell us about the moment you found out you were pregnant, and then I want to hear about your first trimester.
I had just come from an ebook photo shoot, And I was like, gosh, I'm so tired. Maybe it was just because being on camera all day, it's a lot. So you're tired. And I was kind of poo-pooing this idea that maybe I was pregnant, and I was supposed to get my period that day. And I was like, oh, maybe like the stress of building up to this photo shoot and launching this ebook, like I'm just, maybe I won't start today. I should have been clued in by the fact that my boobs were insanely sore, like way more than normal PMS symptoms, but I was having all of those normal PMS symptoms. I was like a little crampy. It was like a little in my soft girl era, a little crying.
Yeah.
I got home from the shoot and I told Kyle, oh, I was supposed to start my period today, but I didn't. And he was like, I think you should take a test just so we feel like, I don't know, just so we know for sure. I had these little flimsy paper Amazon
The Pregnate
tests. Oh, I don't know. I forget what they're called.
Pink? It was the packaging pink.
Yes.
I've used those.
Okay.
I think I've used every single test on the market.
You're
sure.
like, I'm a pro at these tests.
I
love that you know the brand name.
I know all the brands. Yeah.
I took that little flimsy guy, peed on it, and only like one line developed, which was negative.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, now I have this flimsy little stick that's covered in pee. What do I do with it? So I just like set it in my sink and then popped in the shower.
Yeah.
Got out of the shower and a second small line had developed. And it was like not enough for me to be fully convinced.
Those tests take a minute.
Okay. I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, negative, like moving on with my life. But I sent a photo to my sister because she, for context, she gave birth 3 months ago. So we're 3 months apart in our pregnancies.
Oh my God, that's so special.
It's really cute. So every trimester that she was just popping out of, I was just entering into.
That's awesome to have someone to talk to.
It was really nice. It's like such a good resource. But I texted her and I was like, is this positive? And she goes, very positive. Oh my gosh. Very positive. So I ran into the laundry room where Kyle was and I was like, babe, it was positive. And he goes, take another. Like, so just, we need to prove this. Like, you need to take another. So I took another one of like the flimsy little paper ones. It was also positive. And so I was like, okay, now it's time to bring out the big guns.
The clear blue.
It's time for the clear blue.
It's time for the clear blue.
Like,
because you want to see that pregnant, like
yes,
the
I'm
word.
like, I need to like make sure that this is solid. So I had one clear blue test that had been in my drawer for like 5 years. From right after Kyle and I got married, I had a little, oh, am I pregnant? And like bought a pack of 2.
Yeah.
And so literally it was like so old. And it was positive. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. It was kind of a full body experience, as I'm sure you know. It's like,
yeah.
Well, what now?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
the
crazy.
Craziest feeling.
Because you don't feel pregnant yet.
No.
You certainly don't look it. You're
the
just
boobs
like,
were the first thing for me too, though. Like, but I wasn't sure if it was hormones or not.
yes.
Like I was like, is it just from my IVF meds or like, I didn't know.
Mhm.
But I do think that's like a telltale sign for a lot of people.
Yeah, I really should have been like more in tune with, like, obviously this is
Because it's hard to believe. It's
It
like
is
this
very hard to
amazing thing
believe.
that you dream about and then it happens and you're like, how is this real?
And then you like keep taking tests
Oh.
to like prove to yourself that you're still pregnant.
I took one every day, I think, for 3 weeks.
I'm sure. Yeah, because it's like, and then you schedule like your first appointment
Yeah.
and you really want to be pregnant at this appointment. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep taking tests.
And how long did you keep it secret? Because I feel like you didn't talk about it publicly until like for a while, right?
I think I was 22 weeks pregnant when I finally announced.
Oh my God, so you really held that in.
I held it in for a long time. And I was so used to having a platform that was like very focused on food and
Yeah.
less focused on my lifestyle,
Yeah.
that I didn't really know how to talk about something this big and personal. And it felt so sacred to me that I wanted to keep it just close to my heart for a while. Kyle and I got married before I ever had a platform. So it was just like I had never had any sort of big moment happen personally,
Yeah.
publicly. And I wasn't sure how I was going to react to that. And also how my audience would react to it, because like they're very much here for recipes.
Yeah.
And I think that was reflected in, it was obviously like a moment when I finally did announce where there was a lot of support and it was so sweet. But I also lost 7,000 followers that day.
No.
So it's like clearly there's an audience that was very much
7,000?
it was a lot. And it's like odd that I even know that, but I was very curious
Yeah.
how my audience was going to react.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I guess yeah, your page is very food focused. I feel like since being pregnant, maybe it's shifted a little bit.
I definitely talk more in my stories about lifestyle.
Yeah.
I had always woven those elements in, but it was like what we're eating on date night. And it was still like food adjacent.
Yep.
And then now I'm much more open about talking about pregnancy and things that are definitely more personal. And the response has been incredible in stories. I just think once things hit my feed, people are a little bit resistant.
Well, also because you don't know like what algorithm it's landing on. And if you hit men or some other group of people, it could just go downhill so quick. I can always tell when one of my videos isn't going to my followers and it's going to like the For You page.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like getting comments, rogue, crazy comments. I'm like, okay, this has gone too far now.
It's like the cons of anything going viral. I stopped reading comments on viral videos so long ago because they were the most heinous.
Yes.
And like the least reflective of my audience or of myself. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Viral videos, I don't look at them.
They're almost like not meant for us to see.
Yes.
I feel like I've had a few podcast clips go viral and people have, obviously people come on this show and have strong opinions about things and talk about certain topics that are kind of controversial. And that comment section is so scary that I just wouldn't even go there.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a healthy method, honestly. I have always had a bit of beef with push-up bras. I've never really had a successful experience until I got my Skims Ultimate Push-Up Bra. I actually wore it for Greg's birthday party I hosted at my house, and I got so many compliments on my boobs from my girlfriends. And the rumors are true. The push-up bras are back and better than ever. I've been seeing the viral Skims Ultimate Bra all over my feed and trying it out. I was obsessed. Other push-up bras are bulky, heavy, uncomfortable, but this Skims bra lifts and supports me like no other bra I've ever tried. It looks like I got a boob job, especially now that I'm pregnant. I think it's so difficult to find bras that are comfortable, flattering, and look good under clothes. And Skims does just that, honestly. While being pregnant, it's been really hard for me to find bras that feel good. And my Skims bras are what I keep reaching for. So I highly recommend you guys try. Shop the Skims Ultimate Bra Collection and more at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. Summer is approaching and it is the perfect time to start that side hustle you've been dreaming about. With Shopify, you can easily set up your online store and start selling your products in no time. The beauty of entrepreneurship is that you don't have to dive in headfirst right away. They have easy to use tools and an app that you can manage your business on the go and sell anywhere. That is how I started my business. When I was selling my $5 PDF workout guides, Shopify was the first place I went, and we fully scaled my business from there to where it is now, which is absolutely insane. Shopify has been there for us every step of the way. It's a powerful set of tools that helps you start and manage your business, whether online or in person. It's designed to make life easier for entrepreneurs from beginners to big brands by providing tools that simplify selling. You can easily sell on social media, manage your operations, and even collaborate with other brands. It's an all-in-one hub for managing and growing your business, whether you're selling online or in person. With how shopping works now and how prevalent social media is, Shopify is such an easy tool to link to and get your followers to go buy your products. Personal growth starts with stepping outside of your comfort zone, and Shopify is here to help. Head to shopify.com/Mari and see how easy it is to go get started. Okay, so I talked about this on my last episode. Getting unsolicited advice while pregnant is a crazy wild thing that I just didn't really anticipate. How has that been for you?
I guess I expected it a little only because I have a friend who she was doing fashion content and then she got pregnant. And she was like, the meanest comments you will ever get are like mom shaming type comments and just a lot of unsolicited advice on what to do with yourself, with your body, with your baby, with what you're eating. And like everything becomes a moral decision suddenly when you're pregnant. And so the unsolicited advice has been interesting. I was definitely very particular a couple months after I got pregnant. Like I started to notice that everything was affecting me so much more. I was like really soft.
I feel that way now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Everything was making me cry. Every like piece of advice that felt triggering was like really upsetting me.
Yeah.
So I've been very intentional about stepping away from my DMs, which has felt really strange because for the longest time I loved being like so connected with my audience, and I still definitely pop in there pretty frequently, but I'm not like looking at that request folder as much.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if someone has moved out of the request folder and like they've, you know, they're contributing to a conversation in a positive way, then I'll engage with that. But yeah, the request folder is like a little bit scary.
So scary. And I think that's the best thing you can do to protect your peace, especially
Yes.
like when your hormones are all over the place and you're emotional. Like I think I looked in my request folder this morning and I had a crazy message.
Oh no.
Crazy. Like it's always about my dogs,
Oh.
which yeah, they're the loves of
Wait.
my life. Like it's crazy.
What did they even possibly say about your dogs?
So we have a bigger, older dog named Lulu,
Mm-hmm.
an angel. We've had her for 11 years and she's older and it's tough for her in the heat here.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have her go to our Greg's parents' house on Long Island because it's cool. She can swim. She grew up there. She loves it. And she also hates traveling, and we travel a ton in the summer. And my small dog, Arnold, loves traveling. Like he'll go anywhere. But people think I'm like abandoning Lulu. Even though she like lives the best life.
Yeah,
and I'm
she's
obsessed with her.
having like the ideal summer.
She's summering in the Hamptons. Like she's fine. But I get these heinous DMs about how I'm horrible to my dogs and I shouldn't be a mum. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
But I laugh at it. I'm like, this is a
Yeah.
crazy message to send someone. But in real life, I feel like I've been so much more emotional lately and like a little bit irritable.
Oh my gosh. I went through, and this was around like 16, 17 weeks. I got pregnancy rage. And
I can't imagine you with pregnancy
that's like
rage.
everyone I tell, they're like, no, like
You're so sweet.
that sounds funny. I was like so easily irked by everything. And I remember one day I told Kyle, you are not doing anything, but I am so mad at you. Like you are being so wonderful. Everything about you is making me angry right now. The way you're breathing, the way like you're walking, when you put your hand on my back that one time, like
Sometimes
so
that gets
weird.
me too. I'm like, don't touch me. Don't go
Yes.
near my hair. Like
And then
whatever
other
it is.
times I'm like, please touch me.
Yes.
Like, oh, I just want cuddles. I feel like truly
at least
bad.
you were honest about it. Like at least you were upfront. But it is a really crazy, like out of control feeling.
Yes.
I've noticed it come in and out. And like
Yeah.
it just feels also it's tough with your partner because I don't know if you felt this way, but I feel like everything about me is changing. Like the way I look, the way I feel, my life, what I think about, everything. And Greg's life is exactly the same.
Yeah. And it can be a little hard to not like let resentment like bloom a little bit. But I've tried to be very aware at least of like where I'm feeling annoyed that, you know, he's able to carry on his normal life and he doesn't have these like oppressive emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
Where I'll be in church and I'll literally just start like sobbing
Yeah.
out of nowhere. And
I mean, I guess it's emotional, you know?
they're there like, are you okay? And then after one service we were leaving and I was still crying and he was like, so where do you want to go for lunch? And I'm like, I'm not even hungry. I can't believe that you're not sad.
You should be sad too.
You should be sad too. And he's like, about what?
When I was going through IVF and we actually go to the same church and I would go to those services, I would be crying like
Oh,
low
gosh.
key by myself because it is really moving sometimes.
The waterworks. Were you there on Mother's Day?
Like, I don't think so.
It was like last month, but I knew that Mother's Day was going to be like very sobby for me. So it was very much a no makeup day. I was like, we're going in bare.
Tissues, no makeup.
Tissues,
Let's
no
go.
makeup. Seriously.
What kind of workouts have you done during your pregnancy? And then we'll talk about nutrition.
So I had just taken up running
Oh,
right
yes.
around the time when I got pregnant. That quickly fell off.
No more running.
No more running. And it wasn't like doctor prescribed, like, I don't want you running anymore. I just quite physically could not run.
I was going to say, I see a lot of pregnant girls still running and I'm like, how? Because my boobs hurt too much.
I was so fatigued that I could hardly go on our normal walks. So I'm like very impressed by pregnant women who continue to run. And I think it's very empowering. It's very cool to watch.
Yeah, it's
just
awesome.
wasn't my journey. So in the beginning, I was walking, doing Legree, and doing strength training. So Legree, I was doing like twice a week, strength training twice a week, and then like daily walks. And I would say things started to change for me with Legree around 13 weeks. I started to feel like, oh, I'm not able to engage my abs in the same way, which was so much earlier than I expected to kind of lose that control. So 13 weeks, I was still going, but I started meeting with the instructor before every class, and like she was telling me all the modifications that I needed to make that day. It was funny because by the end of pregnancy, I was modifying the whole freaking class.
Like, you're like, I was just laying there.
I'm like taking my own class. Like, why am I even here?
It's a lot of abs. That's what scares me, because I was doing former.
Right.
And that's like so intense, and it's so much abs that I don't even think I could do it right now.
I ended up stopping at around like 33, 34 weeks because I was so heavily modifying the ab series. And it was like I was doing the same 3 moves. You know, they're moving everyone through like this series of 9 moves. And I'm like, I'm just going to be over here doing like bear the whole time and like barely lifting my knees off of the platform. So around 20 weeks, I had to stop walking. And that was so hard on me because I love walks. It was like the way I was getting outside, the way I was clearing my head. It was really good for my mental health. But I developed SPD, symphysis pubis dysfunction.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
That one's a fun one.
What is that? Basically,
the relaxin that's flooding your system makes your pelvic area very loose. So the muscles are under constant stress. And I was just so incredibly sore in that area. And when I describe the pain, it feels like a strained hip flexor, but like across your whole pelvis.
Wow. Okay.
So that was really hard. And I started seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist, and she was like, unfortunately, walking is one of those exercises where it's like very passive shearing of that area. So it's kind of one of those things that pregnant women have to give up if they develop this.
That sucks.
So it was like a little bit heartbreaking, but I was like, okay, how can I figure out another way to move that's going to be compatible with this change in my body? So Kyle and I bought bikes, and that was so fun. We started like biking around the neighborhood at night in exchange for walking.
Just regular bikes?
Just regular, like beach cruisers.
You know, I've kind of been dying to go on a bike ride, actually, now that you say that.
Wait, you do have bikes. Yeah.
We have bikes. We have like the Blue Jay e-bikes.
Okay.
But we're going to Aspen for a month soon, and I want a bike there. So you just reminded me that I should do that.
Yeah, do it.
Love that. And that didn't affect your pelvis area too much.
No, that was like totally fine for me. Around 26 weeks, I started doing Evlo, Shannon Ritchie's program. Yeah, so she has a prenatal specific part of her Evlo program. And so I started like really getting more into strength training, and I love Evlo. I like overnight became an Evlo girl. Like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. It made me feel really strong, but it was like movements that felt so safe for my current season, which I started to lose that feeling about Legree, where I was like, I got to modify so much of this. Whereas Evlo, I wasn't modifying anything. It was specifically for like that week of pregnancy that I was in.
I've been weight training too. It feels really good.
It does.
Like, because you can focus on different parts of your body without like targeting this area too much. You feel strong. You feel empowered. I haven't tried Evlo. I should.
It's awesome.
But I was thinking of looking into some kind of prenatal program, because I'm doing things that feel safe, but sometimes I'm like chat GPTing, like, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that? You know? As
part of Shannon's program, she is currently pregnant when she's doing it, and she's recording the class in the week of, you know, gestation that she's teaching for. And she's a doctor of physical therapy. So there's so much information given about like how to safely do the exercises. And I feel like I learned so much about my body, not just my pregnant body, but how to operate in like a strength training setting through her program. And you come with so much more knowledge about strength training than
I'm self-taught, so, you know,
whatever you're doing is clearly working.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was very empowering to just be like, oh, I'm like actually getting stronger throughout pregnancy, which is not really the rhetoric of working out during pregnancy. You kind of feel like, all right, I'm just going to progressively lose muscle. I'm going to progressively feel like less strong, less empowered to move my body. But that hasn't been the case for me.
Yeah,
thankfully.
it kind of flips the narrative. Like I feel like
Yes.
when I first got pregnant, I was so nervous of doing something wrong because my IVF clinic was like, don't lift too heavy. You know, at first they're very conservative, obviously, because they want to make sure it worked. But now that I'm in this sort of like normal era of being pregnant, I'm just noticing how good it makes me feel. And I'm not thinking about the same things anymore. Like previously, maybe I wanted my abs to show, or, you know, what I wanted muscle to show. And now I think about being strong for childbirth. I think about having a kid and being strong. I've even heard science that your actual fetus will be stronger if you're stronger.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Like
Wild.
crazy. So like the baby's kind of weightlifting too. I don't know, whatever. But it is kind of amazing. And I think it's cool that we're talking about it because I was a little bit nervous to post that I was weightlifting because I was worried about the feedback because people are so sensitive about everything.
Yes. There's a lot of opinions about how you should be moving or not moving during pregnancy. And I think this has helped me tap into intuition. It's like a balance of being informed and intuitive about the movement.
Yeah.
Like, okay, where can I go to get good, solid resources around how to safely move? And also like what feels good for me?
Yes.
How do I just like listen to, oh, you know what? This doesn't feel good anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This feels awesome.
Gotta listen to your body 100%. I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I have personally used The RealReal for many, many years. I've sold a lot of my luxury items on there and made a lot of money back from it, which is amazing. I feel like when I stop using something frequently, I'm like, okay, it's probably time to sell. And I've also bought some amazing items. I have some Hermes sandals, a Goyard bag. I found some really unique, fun pieces on there. And for a discounted price. I was just in New York and I actually stopped by their location and it's always so fun to go snoop around. The RealReal is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style with up to 90% off retail. You can finally have the pieces you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, and Prada. Unlike other resale sites, everything The RealReal sells is authenticated in person by luxury and fashion experts. Even with selling my pieces, I have someone come over who will look and authenticate everything. It's a super legit process. The RealReal is great for the planet and your wardrobe. They found new homes for over 37 million authenticated luxury items, so they know firsthand the impact resale has on the planet. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/pow. That's therealreal.com/pow to get $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/pow. You guys know that lab testing is a really big part of my health journey, whether it's been for my skin or my fertility journey. And I chose Function because it's the best in the world for testing. It's an all-in-one health platform with over 100 advanced lab tests covering your entire body, 5 times more than the average physical. Comprehensive and focused on critical biomarkers, it offers testing twice a year. Available across the US and super easy to use, it's recommended by Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Casey Means, and hundreds of health experts. Kicking off the summer, Function is sharing their Long Live campaign. It's a celebration of the everyday moments that make life worth staying healthy for. For me, this means long live spending time with family, being able to walk with my dogs, have fun with my husband, be a healthy mum for my future baby. I think testing and getting ahead of things is the best thing you can do for your health, and it really is the best investment you can make. No matter what journey you're on, whether you're struggling with something health-wise or you just want to be proactive, I think Function Health is the perfect place to start. They are so thorough. They have so many amazing tests. If I could make everyone in my life do this, I would. In the spirit of long live and taking control of your health, get a $100 credit towards your annual membership at www.functionhealth.com/pow. This $100 credit is only for the first 1,000 listeners, so sign up at www.functionhealth.com/pow, POW. Did you read Expecting Better?
No, but I've heard you talk about it and I'm like, is it too late to read it?
Well, you're about
I've got 2 days.
So I was curious because it's a lot about food and it's about the statistics of, so obviously at the beginning, they're like, don't eat deli meat, don't eat sushi, whatever, all the things they say. And this author, Emily Oster, I think her name is, breaks down the statistics of these actual foods, deli meat, and why doctors tell us not to eat them, and the actual likelihood of getting sick or whatever it is. And that was really interesting to read because it kind of like busted a lot of the myths that I had in my head. And it's not that I like ran and ate sushi. I still haven't eaten sushi, even though I miss it a lot actually. But it helps you make your own decisions about what you're eating and what you feel safe eating. Have you, like with your recipes and things like that, are people like, oh, you shouldn't be eating that? Or do people say things like that?
There's this morning tonic that I am obsessed with from Alchemy Juice.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I love Alchemy.
That place.
And it has butterfly pea powder in it. Yeah. And someone was like, that can send you into labor. Like it made me have contractions. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't be drinking this. But it's also like the smallest amount. It's literally for
just
color.
To make it blue. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, let's be realistic. I'm drinking it like 2 days a week. And I've been drinking it throughout my whole pregnancy. Clearly, baby's still in there.
We're doing fine.
We're doing fine. She's nice and snugged. I will occasionally get comments like that. And these ones I find really helpful. I'm doing this postpartum series of this is what I'm prepping. This is what I'm filling my freezer with.
Oh, love that.
That's been really fun. There are certain things like parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme that you're not supposed to be introducing during breastfeeding. And like I made this really delicious like Tuscan chicken bake and I put thyme in it. And so it is helpful every now and then when people are like, maybe you don't actually want to be eating that in postpartum. And again, it's like such small, it's like a teaspoon of thyme.
What is the reasoning behind that?
It can reduce your milk supply.
Got it.
So there's something in those herbs that like can possibly negatively affect. Now, I don't want to be like fear mongering anyone. Like, oh my gosh,
fear mongering. We're just talking.
This is just the feedback that I'm getting in my DMs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And is there certain things you can eat to increase milk supply? I'm sure.
Yes. So I actually recently made some like lactation support cookies. And this was another thing that people were like, literally anything you post about pregnancy, and I'm sure we'll find this about motherhood as well. People are like, that's ridiculous. Like, you're clearly anti-science or something. I don't know. I'm like, I just posted a lactation cookie. It's literally an excuse for me to eat cookies during postpartum.
Yeah, I've heard of lactation cookies. Like they sell them at like Erewhon and whatever. Yeah,
exactly. And it has like oats, flax, coconut oil, and brewer's yeast. And all of those are supposed to help like with milk production.
Great.
And I'm like,
make it a cookie.
Make it a cookie. Exactly. Like, oh, sounds delicious.
That is a really cool series though. I love that idea. Like having food prepped and ready.
Yeah.
Because they say the best thing you could give a new mum is food that's ready to go.
I'm like kind of so looking forward to that. Like definitely having some options available. But recently I had a friend ask like, what's something that I can do for you in postpartum? And he has always been like a very generous gift giver. And one of the ideas from my assistant actually was, why don't you have like a chef prepare her a few days worth of meals? Aww. So I actually reached out to Taylor, your friend.
Yes.
And I was like, I know that you were doing this last year. I don't know if that's still an offering of yours to do like mommy meals.
Did she say yes?
She did. Which was
I hope
so sweet.
She's, by the way, she loves you and she's 100% listening to this episode right now. We love you, Taylor.
I love her so much. She has been part of my cookbook recipe testing team.
So cool.
And I'm like, I am one of those people that falls in love with everyone that I work with. It's like, I should probably be better.
She was the best possible person for you to reach out to for that, by the way.
I feel
she's so thorough and she loves cooking and she like gives the best feedback, I feel like.
Such good feedback. Yeah. My writer, and he's like helping edit some recipes too. He said that the two testers we have, he was like, this is the dream team of testers. Like I'm so impressed by them. He's been so impressed by Taylor. I'm like, oh,
I was
love
following
her so
along
much
on the journey and
Amazing.
seeing all the recipes she was making. So excited for your cookbook. Wait, when does the cookbook come out?
Not until March of 27, which feels like a million years away.
27?
I know. Traditional publishing, like it is a long haul. But
I've heard, we talked about that a little bit because I've always wanted to write a book and I was kind of like asking you some questions. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So not even next, you have to get through all of next year.
All of next year, which I'm kind of grateful for because I will have by that point like an almost 2-year-old.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy.
That's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have like maybe a little bit of terrible twos on the cookbook tour.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be a journey for you.
Yeah.
And with pregnancy nutrition, was there anything that you were hyperfixated on throughout, at the beginning, cravings?
Cravings are always like such a fun one to talk about. I feel like I had kind of boring cravings in the beginning.
Yeah.
I really craved herb salads.
No way.
Like so random.
Oh my God, your body probably like wanted the nutrients
It
and
wanted
the herbs or
herbs
something.
so bad. So there's this salad that I have on my blog. It's like an herby quinoa salad. I made that literally every day.
No way.
My poor assistant was probably so tired of eating this salad.
Like,
but I was like, I'm like, Chelsea, we're having the salad again tonight. But
that's funny because I'm like kind of turned off by salads right now.
I am now too. Third trimester, I don't want a vegetable. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
But like first trimester, I wanted herb salads, berries and citrus.
Healthy queen.
Obsessed with oranges.
Citrus is a big one for me.
Oh
like
my gosh.
lemon, anything.
Yes.
Obsessed.
I was going through bags of oranges. Like I was so obsessed with oranges and orange juice. And one of my things I didn't want was like a flavored beverage, except for if it was orange juice.
Yep.
Like I wasn't drinking electrolytes anymore because I just
obsessed
couldn't.
with orange juice too, actually. And I never used to drink it.
It's got to be the vitamin C. Because I
Yes.
wasn't like a big juice drinker before.
Yep.
Like maybe on vacation Cabo, I'd have like orange juice at brunch.
You know what's funny about orange juice? I feel like it had really bad PR for a while and everyone's like, oh my God, it's full of sugar. Why are we drinking it? And now it's having a resurgence.
Yes.
Because people are mixing like creatine with their orange juice and it's
Oh.
like considered ancestral now.
Oh, we love a rebrand.
Orange juice got a new PR team and
It
it's
did.
going great.
I'm so happy for them.
I know.
They deserve better PR.
We hopped on the bandwagon.
We did.
Also, apple juice sounds really good to me right now.
Oh yeah. Like in the
know?
fall, like I wanted like crisp apple juice.
Yeah, just like
or,
something tart
Yes.
is really, really good.
Yeah. But other like food fixations. I read the book Real Food for Pregnancy.
Oh, I should look at that.
That was a
Okay.
good book. It very much just solidified that the way that I was already eating was very healthy for pregnancy. So I didn't really feel like I had to change much. I've always been like very conscientious of protein intake and trying to eat variety and trying to have a lot of like micronutrients from herbs and vegetables and fruits. And so in a way it was like, oh, the things I have been doing are like good for building a little baby inside of you.
amazing.
So that was good. There were some specific things like I tried to incorporate some liver once a week into like a ground beef taco bowl or something like that.
So that you would mix it in the ground beef. Okay, my husband's dying for me to do the liver thing, and I used to swallow a chunk of frozen liver every day.
Impressive.
Disgusting. So disgusting, and I can still picture the taste of it. And I don't know how to go about it.
I was buying Force of Nature ancestral blend
Yeah, that helps.
and then mixing it with ground beef.
okay,
So it's like, I don't really know how
Just
much
still
liver
grosses
I'm
me
getting.
out, though.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it, you know.
Yeah, if I had come off of years of eating raw liver, then I would feel the same way.
Ugh.
I never got into that thing. Like Kyle got into it, and I was like, babe, it's really hard for me to watch you choke this down. Like it's
No.
clearly so unenjoyable.
I really get upset when Greg does disgusting things because I'm like, you're really grossing me out and making my life really hard. Like it's seriously
You're
disgusting.
making me nauseous.
Like he was eating sardines last night just out of a tin, and I was like, please, like do something different with the sardines. Like he was just eating them whole with the head, you know.
I did that in like the second trimester. Suddenly sardines sounded really
they're
good
so
to me.
good for you. How were you eating the sardines?
Shannon Ritchie actually turned me on to they're like boneless, skinless sardines, which boneless was like a huge priority
Wait,
for me.
what's the brand?
I want to say it's like Crown Prince, and they sell it at Costco.
Okay, I think I know what you mean. I just ordered a ton of boneless whatever sardines from Europe or something.
Ooh.
And I'm supposed to be eating those.
Well, I actually found them to be very palatable, especially if we're comparing it to liver.
Okay, yeah.
Like so much better.
I guess you could like mash it up and like
And like kind of make it like a little tuna salad-esque vibe. I was just eating them straight out of the can because I was like, these are actually kind of good.
Your body must have been like, I need a sardine.
Yeah. You cannot trust anything that's coming out of like my taste buds during pregnancy, which has been really interesting in developing a cookbook. Because I'm like, okay, thank God I have like recipe testers because like this tastes really good to me. And people are like, Cut down on the herbs. Oh my gosh. No
The
more
sardines, they have such good omegas in them. They're apparently amazing. Have you seen the videos of little babies in their high chairs just downing sardines?
No, I'm inspired though.
I want to give my baby someone's going to give me shit for this. I don't care. At some point, when the baby can eat solids, I want to put sardines because apparently it's really good for them.
I know my friend Rachel has been doing like liver and I'm not sure if she's been doing sardines, but her kid eats so well. I'm like, Rachel, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like, come feed my baby.
I got to go check that out because I actually love watching like baby nutrition.
Oh, you're going to like, she has, I think, a whole highlight on like what she's been feeding her baby ever since she introduced solids at 6 months. And I'm like, oh, thank you for doing the Lord's work.
It's so interesting.
It's so interesting.
Have you heard of Dr. Rhonda Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, obsessed with her.
She's amazing.
I think she is a 2-year-old, maybe a 3-year-old now. And she's the one who inspired me to eat fish eggs. I've been eating fish eggs.
That's right.
When I can. Some days I'm like, it's not the day. I can't.
Yeah.
But I think she feeds her child really well. I would love to like see that menu.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going. I mean, I can't wait to see what you feed your child.
I'm really excited for that phase of motherhood, like starting to do solids and introduce little foods, and
so exciting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was such a pleasure. I'm so glad I caught you before you gave birth and her water didn't break on the show.
I know. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to have like a really fun moment.
Like a really dramatic,
like I'm going into
social.
labor.
I was laying in bed last night. I was like, oh my God, what if Olivia gives birth on the show?
Would be iconic.
So honored to have you here. Can you tell everyone where they can find you online? Where can they get the ebooks, all the things, Substack? Yes.
I am at olivia.adriance on Instagram, and then just at Olivia Adriance everywhere else. Hardest to get an Instagram name. And then my Substack is called Extra Scoop. You can also just search Olivia Adriance on Substack. And it is surprisingly devoid of food content on Substack. I talk a lot about like the behind the scenes of building a content business and transitioning out of corporate America into working for myself. So a little bit of a different taste. Everything is linked in my bio on Instagram. That's where you can find me.
I love that. And good luck
with
giving birth.
Yes, so soon, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Pursuit of Wellness podcast. To support this show, please rate and review and share with your loved ones. If you want to be reminded of new episodes, click the subscribe button on your preferred podcast or video player. You can sign up for my newsletter to receive my favorites at marilewellen.com. It will be linked in the show notes. This podcast is a Pursuit Network production, brought to you by Michaela Phillips, Joel Contartese, Daviel Waldner, Jen Lauren, and Mackenzie Mizell. You can also watch the full video of each episode on our YouTube channel at Pursuit of Wellness Podcast. Love you, Power Girls and Power Boys. I will see you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team.